Are you dealing with parental alienation? If so, then this video is for you. Today I'm going to look at the tactics of a parent that is trying to alienate you from your children's lives. How you protect yourself from that alienation. More importantly, how you protect your children from that alienation. And also some suggestions on what to do when the children themselves start to alienate you from their lives. Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracy Maloney, aka the Legal Queen on social media. I'm a practicing family law solicitor and have been now for over 20 years. I come across, unfortunately, on a regular basis, a lot of parental alienation. I get a lot of questions on social media, I get a lot of DMs on my Instagram, and I have a lot of clients that are experiencing alienation from their ex. Their ex simply won't let them have a relationship or even see the children. So I thought I'd do a video to show you guys how you can navigate your way through that, how you can identify the tactics that the alienating parent will deploy, how you can protect yourself and the children, and more importantly, what to do if you have older children and they start to alienate you. The thing to remember, first of all, is that alienating children from their parent is highly damaging. The children will experience emotional damage, feelings of abandonment, feeling confused, not knowing who to believe. They won't be shown by the alienating parent proper boundaries. Their trust will be tested. You might find that if your children are being alienated by your ex, that they have a lack of emotional confidence. They may become quiet and withdrawn. They may be feeling very unnerved around you and simply wanting to get home because the other parent is making them feel guilty because they're spending time with you. Ultimately, it's really damaging. And I'm hoping that through the experience that I've had as a family law solicitor, that I can give you some suggestions as to how you can navigate through all of that. So the first thing to do is recognise what the alienating parent's going to do. Alienation can come in a variety of ways. They will start to talk about you in a negative way directly to the children. They will maybe talk about you in a negative way to their friends and family whilst in earshot of the children, even if that means that the children are upstairs and they're having a conversation downstairs. They can make the children feel guilty about wanting to spend time with you, telling them that you're going to be leaving me all alone if you go and see mummy or daddy, whoever the other parent might be. They might even say to the child that they're not allowed to bring your gifts home. They're not allowed to bring your clothes home. So if we have a shared care arrangement, sometimes alienating parents simply won't allow anything that belongs to you and that they believe lives in your house, they won't allow it into their house. Recognise all of this, but more importantly, recognise that this isn't personal. They are unable to set good boundaries for themselves. They are feeling hurt or aggrieved or whatever it is, and they are looking to blame you, punish you. They're looking for revenge a lot of times. Now that can be really hard when it's your children that are caught in the middle. But the first suggestion I would give you is don't take it personally. Recognise that all of this alienation is simply an attack. They are fully aware that your children are your Achilles heel. You want to have a relationship with them following the breakdown of your marriage or your relationship with them, and they know that. They will be openly critical about you when the children return from contact. They want to know what you fed them, where you took them, if they were hungry while they were with you. They will attempt to brainwash the children into not trusting you, convincing the children that you are not a good parent. They will do things to jeopardise your contact time with the children. Now that might be booking a holiday deliberately when you're meant to be having the children, telling you that the children are too ill that they can't come and see you, sometimes telling you that the children actually don't want to come and see you. I've had clients call me and say that the other parent actually put the child on the phone and said, I don't want to see you this weekend. They will encourage the child to make plans with their friends. I'm talking about older children, sort of 11, 12 and 13, when they know that that weekend is your contact weekend. At times, they can employ the children to be spies for them. When the children come back from having contact with you, they'll be asking questions about your new partner or what car you're driving or actually where they took you on holiday and how much was spent. They can manipulate the children so much so that their emotions and how they feel about you are transferred onto the children. You have to recognise that if you're helping guide your children through an alienation case. You have to know that your child is going to be emotionally distressed, is going to lack trust, and more importantly, going to lack confidence. Be aware of that and learn how to deal with it. So how do you protect your children when they're being alienated from you? The first thing I would say is you have to display your children unconditional love. They have to know that. They have to know that whatever they do, whatever they say, whatever actions your ex is taking, that they have unconditional love from you. You have to be aware of what you are saying in the children's earshot. Do not talk negatively about the other parent. Encourage your family and friends to do the same. Now, this is probably the hardest thing that my clients have to deal with, because they will hear all the time the other parent openly criticising them, openly bad-mouthing them. And it can be really hard not to stick up for yourself, not to tell the children, well, actually, I didn't do that. I don't know why mummy or daddy would tell you that, because I didn't do that. If you fall into that trap, you are then becoming a parent that alienates. So don't criticise the other parent. You must be able to control your sadness and your anger. You're going to feel very frustrated at times, very angry with the other parent. You're going to feel really sad when contact is cancelled right at the last minute. You've got to control all of that. You know that this isn't an attack on you per se. This is the other parent not being able to identify what's in the children's best interests. You've also got to be aware of self-care. If you don't have a support network around you, maybe that's family, maybe that's a new partner or some solid friends, think about getting some counselling, because this emotional and constant attack on you is going to have a strain. And that strain will impact your ability to parent the children properly. So think about self-care, because indirectly that's going to also assist your children in getting through an alienating case. Never retaliate. Never withhold the other parent's time if something's happened that's upset you. Never share how you feel about the other parent with your children. The other parent, as an attempt to alienate you, may even start to talk about the court case to your children, telling deliberate lies about you. And if you have older children, they may question this. They may start to try to talk to you about the court case. Remind them that this is between you and the other parent. As children, they need to be children. They simply need to have fun. They don't need to be worrying about what's going on in court. They don't need to be worrying about the fact that you and the other parent are disagreeing about some things. It's okay to disagree. Always remain confident. Never fall into that trap of criticising the other parent or putting your position to the children. That's not what's important here. What's important is that your children see you as a safe haven. They see you as a place of trust and emotional security. So when they're spending time with you, they know that they can be open, be children, and simply have fun. You're never going to want to put your children in the middle of anything. And I say that because as children get older, they then start to become more aware of the repercussions of the alienating parent. So what I mean by that is the alienating parent might make them feel guilty for spending time with you. And now your 12 or 13-year-old is saying to you, oh, I'm a bit busy this weekend, or I can't come and see you. I get it's not fair, and I get that it's not right, but allow it to play its course. What you don't want to do is force that child to have contact with you. You may be aware that that child is feeling intimidated by the other parent, but what you're doing by controlling your emotions and making them feel comfortable about making their own decisions is displaying to them how you navigate a difficult parent. You're allowing your children to set their own boundaries and do whatever they feel they need to do in the moment to protect themselves emotionally. In many ways, you have to carry their burden. A lot of times I see parents say to me, but Trace, it's simply not fair. It's my contact weekend and she is stopping it. I know that when my son phoned me, he really wanted to come and see me. And I get all of that. But this isn't about being fair. This is about protecting your children from further emotional damage. So be the parent that carries that burden for them. Say to them, through gritted teeth if need be, okay, that's fine. Understand that you've got plans this weekend. Maybe we can catch up in a couple of weeks' time. What you don't want to do is make them feel guilty. Well, why aren't you coming to see me? It's my contact weekend. That's only going to make the situation worse. And again, you're going to come off as the alienating parent. The common denominator that I see in my clients who are dealing with a parental alienation case is how to handle the other person, how to handle the other parent and the difficulty that that poses for them. Up until this point, you've been in a relationship where that person has most likely been very dominant, has been very controlling, and you may have even got to a situation before you left the relationship where actually it's easier to just go along with what they want or to do as they say. But now you've made the decision that the relationship has broken down and you are looking to have contact with your children. They are going to continue those attacks. So how do you handle that? The first suggestion that I say to my clients is avoid face-to-face as much as you possibly can. Keep the conversation to the phone because the phone can create a barrier. You don't have to be in the same room as them. You don't have to be looking them in the eye. You can take your time on the phone. You can even rehearse before that phone call takes place. Start that phone call by listening to their feelings. There's every chance they're going to start with a criticism or a moan or a complaint. Perhaps they want to change things. They don't feel they're being fairly treated in the whole contact. Maybe they don't feel they're getting enough contact with the children, that you always have weekends, that they've missed out on sports days, whatever it might be. My first suggestion to my clients is to recognise their feelings, empathise with them. I hear what you're saying. You know, this breakdown isn't great for either one of us, but I accept what you're saying. You want to spend more time with the children. Okay, what are you proposing? Let's see if we can deal with that. At all times, keep your tone calm and confident. Know in the back of your mind that they are doing all that they can to get a reaction from you. They won't be expecting you to acknowledge how they feel. The next thing you want to do is accept your part to blame in this. What I see or what I hear my clients tell me is that what the alienating parent will then do is start to throw all sorts of blame your way. Well, you brought them back late. You brought them back hungry. You promised them that you were going to take them to the zoo and you didn't do it. Acknowledge it. Own it. By owning it, you take away the power from the alienating parent. So you would say to the other parent, you know what, I get that actually, but let me explain to you why I didn't take them to the zoo. This happened, this happened, this happened. Yeah, I totally agree. I did have them back late. We got caught in traffic. So own your part where you've genuinely made some mistakes with the children. There is none of us perfect. The other side is also making mistakes, but right now they want to blame you for everything. Now, obviously, I'm not saying own everything that they're saying, but at least own up to some of the mistakes that you've made. You can say to them, well, I accept that I was late, but actually it's not quite true that I didn't feed them. The next suggestion I would have when you're dealing with an attack from the alienating parent is to clarify what it is they're saying. Again, remain calm. Say to them, okay, so I hear what you're saying. You would like to have the children every weekend, but then you're saying you want me to return the children on a Sunday morning. Can we just clarify which is it that you would like? Remember, an attack from the parent isn't going to be to clarify or to rationalise or to compromise. It's simply going to be an attack on you. If they continue to attack and they're not being clear and they're raising their voice, tell them that. Okay, I don't deal well when people are shouting at me. I'm really happy to have this conversation with you and I'm really happy to listen to any new contact proposals that you want to make. But can I ask you to lower your voice and to be clear to me exactly what it is that you're asking me for? You can just keep repeating that. And if they won't listen to you, let them know that you're going to have to end the conversation. The hardest thing, and I get that it's the hardest thing to do, but the most powerful thing you can do is keep your tone calm. Don't raise to the bait, don't bite, don't raise your voice. And if you feel that the conversation's going round and round in circles, let them know that you're going to hang up, and then do it. Hang up. Let's take the scenario where you're being attacked face to face. You may have bumped into them at the school gates. You may have bumped into them at sports day. You may have to see them when you take the children back after contact, or you pick the children up. In that case, know that if an attack starts, you've got the option to say, let me have a think about that and I'll come back to you. A lot of times when you've come out of an intimidating relationship, seeing that person or hearing that person's voice can often leave you feeling speechless. So in the moment, your brain goes blank. And then afterwards you say, oh, why didn't I say this? Why didn't I say this? Why didn't I say this? Know that you don't have to answer the questions right there and then, particularly if you're not prepared for it. Be prepared to say, I hear what you're saying, let me have a think about it and I'll come back to you. That way you can leave the situation, get yourself away from them, rehearse what it is that you're going to say, and then do it by way of a phone call. And finally, what do you do when the children start to attack you? So again, I have a lot of clients where they've got older children, teenage children, sometimes the children are even over 18, and they will say, oh, well, you're a liar. You know, mum says that you stole money. Mum says that you were never there when we were growing up. Or dad says that, you know, you were always out with your friends and he had to look after us. You never want to get into that with your children, because by entering into that discussion with them robs them of their childhood. It actually brings them into an adult conversation. And the other thing that you've got to know is that regardless of what parents do to children, children will 100% love their parents unconditionally. So by placing children in the middle like that, it leaves them feeling torn, because they don't want to have to hate on dad, or they don't want to have to not trust mum. So at all times, just have your script ready and say to the kids, look, at the end of the day, that's between me and your dad, or that's between me and your mum. I get that you are caught up in this, but I really don't want you to be. So let's not talk about that. Or you might simply want to say, look, we disagree. You know, me and dad or me and mum, we don't get on, we disagree about things. But what you need to know is that both of us love you unconditionally. The fact that we don't agree shouldn't really impact the quality time that we spend together. Shut it down as soon as you can, because if you try to defend yourself, you're going to be the parent that's alienating. If you try to stick up for yourself, you put that confusion then back on your children. They don't know who to believe. They love both parents unconditionally. Who are they believing, mom or dad? As I said earlier in the video, it's a massive burden to bear, but you must bear it. You are their parent. And what you're doing is equipping them with the emotional security and the emotional confidence to be stable adults as they grow up. And who knows? When your children have children and they're in their 30s and their 40s, there may come a day when they then sit down with you and you're able to have that adult conversation. In that instance, what I've advised people to do is say, look, the position as per the court papers is the accurate one. So if you want to have a read of those court papers, by all means, happy to do that. So I'm talking about when your kids are fully grown adults. It's a better way than saying, well, actually, all that your mum told you or all that your dad told you over the years was lies. Let them just see the documents if they're still keen to know what's going on. My suggestion, however, would always be that you just shut that conversation down as quickly as it starts. So there we go. Some of my suggestions if you are caught up in that nasty alienation trap that I see so many times. Just some tips on how to identify the characteristics of a parent that's alienating your children from you and how you can best navigate that. I don't want to undermine how difficult it is to run alienation cases. It is emotionally draining for the parent that's being targeted, but I hope that those suggestions help. And remember guys, I've done loads of other videos to help support you if you're going through a court case or if you're trying to represent yourself, all things family law related. So be sure to check out those videos if you need more questions answering or more support. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.